Hi guys, I'm making a video for complete newbies in PI to make P1 material products. If you already do PI and you know what you're doing, this video is definitely not for you because I'm still very new at it and I'm still learning. But I was talking to someone the other day and basically explaining what I knew, and they suggested just do a video on that for complete newbies and it might help someone else out. So I'm going to go over the skills. So I'm doing this on one of an alt of my main account. So I'm not maxing out the skills, I just want to get some decent production to transport onto my other accounts and turn into P2 and then maybe P3. But if you just wanted to sell the P1, you can do that, no problem. You know, you'll still make some decent ISK from that. If you set it up on a bunch of alts, you can move the stuff around and combine it to make some P2 and P3. So first I'll go over the skills that I've set up on this character. So this was about an 8-day, it's still got some training to do. I wanted to get into planetary consolidation up to 4, which will give me 5 planets to work with, but I've got everything else that I want at the moment to set up 4 planets and get them running, so I might as well get those started before the 5th is available. So interplanetary consolidation is the skill that will determine how many planets you can manage at once. As you can see, I've got 4 available at skill level 3, and when it hits 4 it'll give me 5 planets. Command center upgrades, very important. Get that to at least 4. As you can see, after 4 it goes up to a 20-day train. Somewhat weird's going on with not sure why that's displaying like that. Anyway, remote sensing lets you sit in the station and look at planets' resources, which is quite handy. And I'm just going to close and reopen this window because that's all messed up. There we go. Planetology, again, it just makes your scans a little bit better and it's really quick to get up to level 3. So those all told are about an 8-day train. Oh yeah, also Galenti Industrial 1, because that will let you any industrial to 1, because you're going to need an industrial ship to put your command centers in to get them actually onto the planet. I only remembered that I was going to do this video after I'd started on this, so up to this point all I'd done is look at my local system. So just click on the system you're in, look at orbital bodies, and you'll see the list of planets here, and I just go through them one by one. Right click, view planetary production. You can see I've already put my command center down there, but over on the left hand side you've got build and scan. Change it to scan, you'll see all of the resources that the planet has available. The slider up here, it will start off like that, which will show you like the whole spectrum of resource density. What I usually do is just push that in, so it's about that big, and then I will slide that whole bar around. And what you're looking for is to get it so your white spots are looking in a little bit like that, so you can kind of see where a good place to put your extractor will be. On the slider, the position of the resources you can see in relation to the slider will depend on the density of the resources on the planet. So if I've got that there, I can hardly see anything for base metals, but if I go to something that's more abundant, you can see there's a lot more, so you can refine it down further to see how dense. So you want to go for the densest spots, and I usually try and find somewhere that's got a couple of spots near each other, just so I can move my extractors around. And these change over time as well, I believe. So you know, today it could look like that, and then in a few days that spot could have moved up over here, or could have got bigger or smaller. It's a slow process, so but you get used to that. So first thing you want to do is pick a resource, and it's tempting to always just look for, well, there's the most abundant resource on that planet is carbon compounds, and I went into it the first time just looking for the most abundant, and I just ended up with stacks and stacks of toxic metals, and then realized, oh, I want to make some P2 product with this, and I've just got one type of resource. I'm going to put some links in the description for some sites that will show you the whole path of the resource processing. So which resources make P1 into P2 into P3 into P4. So if you wanted to set up one character to specifically get one type of resource, and then you can move that resource to another character and then combine them together to make P2, P3, etc. So I'm on this planet, I'm looking to get reactive metals out of it. So I'll get my slider to show the correct density. I've got to refine my command center. There it is, tiny. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is come onto the planet, click on your command center, and upgrade it as far as you can get it. So do that. It's going to cost you 4.2 million. Submit. Okay, that's your command center upgraded. You need that to give you extra resources for CPU and everything else. Power and CPU, which you will need for more buildings, links, and routes and launch pads. So, got our command center in place. We've upgraded it. Next, this planet is just basically going to be extracting P1. We're not going to do anything else with it on this planet. We just want it farming that P1 in an efficient manner. So next we're going to need a launch pad. So we hit the build tab. An extractor control unit. So you can see there's a radius on the unit, and that shows you how far you can reach with your extractor heads. So if there's a couple of blobs like this, I'll try and get it somewhere of a place where I can reach as much of it as possible. So I could choose to go to cover this whole big one here, or I could try and get it somewhere that I can cover both of those. As this is a bigger spot, I'm gonna try and cover that. Now, you can have your extractor head and your factories and your launch pad as far away from your control command center as you want, but when you come to that planet, it will always center on your command center. So it's sometimes a bit of a pain in the ass to try and spin the planet around and try and find where your production facilities are. So I always try and plonk that down near the resource that I'm trying to get. If you have to retool a planet to mine for to extract a different resource, then you're going to run into that problem anyway. But don't worry about it. So once you've put your extractor head down, click submit, and now that's there on the planet. So we need to install an extraction program. So remember, we're going for base metals to make reactive metals. So we click on the extractor head, click on install extraction program, and you're looking for the type of resource that you're going for here, so base metals, and you'll see that the scan overlay comes back up. I would suggest at first doing a 1-day pull, just so you can get a feel of how things are coming in. I usually set my time first. I'm going to put my in the sense of the video, I'll do a 1-day pull, or 2 days, maybe 2 days. Okay, so I set it for 2 days, and now we have to install all the extractor heads. 2, 3, 10 in total. So you see that we've got them here. We can drag them around. If you notice up here, the number will change. So you want to find the highest number that you can reach. Let's see what's up here. 130, 175 seems to be about the highest. So then I'll try and get the other heads as close to that hotspot. Nothing better over here. If you put them too close, you notice that you've got red penalty. So if you overlap your heads, you get a penalty. So never do that. So just get them. Some people don't even bother looking at sort of like trying to min-max the amount that they're getting, but no, I'll spend the time. So they're all pretty similar. That one's a bit low, but who cares? Right, so 2 days, base metals make reactive metals, and click start extraction, and then submit. Most actions that you take in PI, it will require you to submit that change after you've done it. So that commits it. So at the moment, it's not started. It's not started the cycle until I hit submit. That's live now. So without anything else going on, those heads are pulling that resource into the extractor control unit, and it says 1 day, 23 hours remaining, and it shows you the time of the current cycle. So now we have to do something with that raw material that's coming in. So there's a load of different ways to do this. This is a way that I know just works for me. Guys that know a lot more about PI will probably say, oh, there's different ways to do it, better ways, but this is quite user friendly and easy. So next thing, launchpad. So click on the build button, launchpad, and try and get it as close to that. You'll notice that it reds up when it's overlapping, so snug it right up there and drop it. You don't have to click submit at this point. You can just keep adding buildings and then submit when you're done. So some things you need to click submit before it will let you continue, some things you don't. So now we want a barren basic industry facility which will let you make P1, and we're going to try and get that. At the skills that I showed at the start of the video, 4 for command center upgrades, you will be able to have 9 industry facilities, 9 factories. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm just going to submit that. Right. So now we need to route that raw material that's coming in to the launch pad. So I'll tell you the path of that everything's going to take. Raw material is going to come in to the extractor control. We're going to route it to the launch pad, and then from the launch pad it's going to go out to each factory to be processed, each facility, and then it's going to be routed back from the factory to the launch pad, ready for us to go and pick it up from the customs office. So we have to link all of these buildings together. So we click on create link. So a link. So we only need one link from the extractor to the launch pad, and then everything else is linked to the launch pad. So just click once and then once again, and you don't need a direct path from the launch pad to the factory. It can path through another factory. So link those two. Any products will flow that way and that way. I think the maximum is 5 hops to your destination. So for what we're doing here, we're not going to have any issues with hops. And there to there, and that one can go to that one, and that one can go to that one. So it doesn't matter as long as they can reach that and back. So I'm going to submit that. So we've got our link set up, but we've got no products moving, and we've got no programs installed in our factories. So you click on your facility, one click, and you'll get a list of what that facility can create. So we were going for base metals for reactive metals. So we need to find reactive metals, highlight it, click install. This is one of those that you have to submit after every change. So click the facility, choose the commodity, and then submit, and you'll see that it's changed. It's got a yellow ring added to it. So click on the next facility, and it will already have the last thing that you had highlighted. Click install, submit, and again install, submit. If you try and do it too fast, it will tell you to wait. I just keep hammering submit until it lets me through. So we're just repeating that process. So something that I found really helps is if you have oh god, what have I done? If you have a mouse that you can macro, if you can make a double click macro to one button, because there's so much double clicking involved in setting this up, it will drive you insane. So that's a definite for me. I think I would have got bored of PI by now if I had to just constantly double click. So now that we've got our programs installed in our facilities, we need to route the raw material to those facilities. So we know that we've got a route from the extractor to the launch pad. Click on the launch pad. We're looking for routes. No, we didn't make that route. Okay, so let's create the route from the extractor. So click on the extractor, click on route products, because this is the product that's coming in, base metals. Click on it. You can double click on that, I believe, and then double click on the launch pad. Boom. So now we have our raw materials being routed to our launch pad. So now we need to route them from the launch pad out to the facilities to create our end product. So one click on the launch pad, routes, base metals, create route, double click the destination, and then you can just go back to routes, change the type so that incoming is always at the top so you're not scrolling through. Click on base metals, create route, double click destination, and again create route, create route. Doesn't matter if you forget whether you've clicked on a facility and you click it again, it won't create a duplicate route. It will just be this. It will just stay the same. I think that's all of it. So if we click submit, right, now you'll notice if you hover over the launch pad, you see the little yellow marching ants. That means that there's actually something moving between those links. So you'll see there's marching ant, yellow marching ants coming in from the extractor to the launch pad and then out to all the facilities. Now we need to get the finished product back to the launch pad, ready for us to pick up. So this one's a bit quicker. Click on the facility, products, double click on the launch pad, double click on the launch pad. You'll notice that they're turning yellow. If they turn yellow like that, you know that you've done it right. That means the product's coming in, being processed and being shipped back out. Products, double click, go. So there we see everything's yellow. We've got our links, we've got our raw material coming in. It's getting pushed out to the facilities, turned into P1, and then pushed back to the launch pad ready for us to collect. So I hit submit now, and that is it. That is a planet set up to extract resources, change them into P1, and leave them at the launch pad for you to pick up. So going back to what you will need to start this up. So you're going to need an industrial ship to get your command centers onto the planets. Your command center needs to be in your ship and you need to be undocked. Once the command center is on the planet, you can dock back up and do everything else from within the station. So if I'm scouting out, if I'm setting up a new, I'll plan out, I'll go through all the planets, see what I want, make a note of what the planet is and what product I want to make there. So I know, okay, I need 2 Barons command centers, a lava and a storm. I'll go and buy those on the market, load them up into the Iteron or whatever, Badger, whatever you're using, undock, go back through my planets that I made a note of, hit build. You'll have Baron command center will be the only option. You click on that, click on the planet surface where you want to drop it, and then submit. Once you've done that for all your planets, dock back up and then commence this process that we've just been through here. When it comes to scooping up your finished product, I think from the planet that I did earlier there should be something available, so I'll just show that process because that can be a bit of a mystery when you've never done it before. You would usually use an epithel ship because it's got a huge PI hold, so I'm just going to transfer one over from another character. So epithel and so it's got a huge hold for PI materials. Planetary commodities hold a bunch of bloody toxic in there. So we are going to, so your planetary production button, you want to pull out of your neocom. It's going to be an industry planetary production. Just drag it down to your neocom sidebar. So we open that, we can see which planets are doing what, and so this is the first one I set up. Aqueous liquids to create water, which you can combine with electrolytes to make coolant, which is what I've got going on another character. So this is all set up and running. Unfortunately, there's nothing, it hasn't done a full cycle yet. So it's waiting for resources, so we're waiting for that first pull of the extractor heads to come in. But we will go out, we'll fly out there anyway, and I'll show you the process. So imagine you've got a load of stuff sat on the launch pad there. You undock. So just right click, go to customs office, warp to 0, and while it's warping, right click, customs office, access customs office. So if I had some finished product, it would be showing in here on the launch pad of the planet, and you just grab it, drag it over to the customs office. So drag it from the planet to the customs office, and you will get a transfer cost show up down here. You hit the transfer button, and then that item is ready to pick up from the customs office. So by the time you get warped in, it would just be a case of get your PI hold open, you get to 0 at the customs office, stop warp, drag your transferred product into your PI hold, close that, and then move on to your next planet or dock up. That is literally all there is to it. Scoop it all up, sell it, make some ISK. I'm going to do another video on setting up a factory planet, just for if you have, if you want to go to making P2 or P3. So I'll be posting that soon. I hope this helped you out somewhat. You can message me in game. I will leave my in-game names in the video description.